Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the 10-Minute Book Talk, where three best-selling authors talk all things bookish with you for 10 short and sweet minutes. I'm Rachel Linden. I'm your host today, and I am joined by the lovely Marie Bostwick, who is holding the book we're going to talk about, and Katherine Reay. And today we have a treat. We are going to talk with Rachel Fordham, who is actually someone who is hi, Rachel. She and I met at a conference years ago, and we ended up sitting next to each other on the plane, and we haven't seen each other since. But I was like, oh, I want to interview her because I feel like I know her. So I do know her, and she's a Pacific Northwest author, lives in a charming town. So we want to talk about her newest historical romance, The Letter Tree. So Rachel, welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Yes. So The Letter Tree is like really loosely, You've Got Mail meets Romeo and Juliet, meets the 1920s. So it's kind of a fun combo. We've got feuding families and letters that are still kind of linking them together unbeknownst to them. But it has a much happier ending than Romeo and Juliet. No one kills each other. No murder.
That's a relief. It's good we got that out of the way in the beginning, so we know this is a happy
spoiler.
Romance, right? Like, can you really have a romance if at the end everyone's dead?
Everyone's dead. It's a romance. No. But Rachel, I have to tell you, I love that kind of that teaser or putting those two together. You've Got Mail and Romeo and Juliet. So what inspired it? Because you just mentioned you've got 1920s and you've got these two, like, I'm sorry, but even You've Got Mail is iconic these days. And Romeo and Juliet certainly is. So what inspired this great soup of a book?
Well, I've written several other historicals, and I was trying to think of an angle I hadn't done. And so I thought, a feud could be fun. And so to get inspiration, I researched feuds. And the one that I found most compelling was a shoe company over in Germany. And this feud ends up resulting in Adidas and Puma. And I just thought it was so fascinating. So this is not based on it, but it was loosely inspired by it. I just loved this. Well, I didn't love it because it's really tragic, but this whole town ends up kind of divided, and what shoes they wear tells you which side of the feud they're on. And it goes on for years and years and years. And I thought, I'm going to take a spin on that. And so that's sort of where the basis of the feuding came from. And then in order to connect the families, it just made sense to throw in You've Got Mail. So
why not bring that happy element too?
That's really interesting. So you also have a really, you live in the Pacific Northwest. We're not all that far from each other, right? You're kind of down south a little bit from Rachel and I, but you have chosen a quite unusual setting and time period for this. Buffalo, New York in 1924. What the heck? Where'd that come from, girl?
Well, so originally this story was going to be set in the late 1800s, and my editor said, what if we put it in a different era just for fun? And I said, okay, yeah, I can do that. Even though I felt really, really comfortable in the late 1800s, I thought I'm up for the challenge. But since that was going to be learning a whole new era, I thought I'm going to put it in a location I can picture. And I lived for 4 years in Buffalo, New York. And the whole time I lived there, I didn't know I was a writer at the time, but I was fascinated by the old buildings and the history. And so it's just really fun to get to use that setting. And, the zoo plays a role in it. And I had a zoo pass and 2 little kids when I lived there. And so it's like a little love story, a little love letter to the city that I just find really charming. And at the time in 1924, it was just a huge, successful city, one of the most well-powered cities in the whole country because it had Niagara Falls. So it was just a thriving place. And so it had that jazz.
Okay, I want to say something. So I have it weirdly, who knew? I have a big readership in the Buffalo area. So listen, Buffalo bunnies, you need to go read The Letter Tree because it's about your town. So
okay, I love
that there. Okay, all of my Buffalo bunnies, go get Rachel Fordham's book. Okay, sorry.
Buffalo. Just a side note, Marie has people everywhere.
We have a lot in Buffalo.
It's a great place.
I don't know.
I like that you call them the Buffalo bunnies.
Yeah. Because all of my people are bunnies because you guys know me enough. I use affectionate terms, and bunny is one that I use a lot. And pretty soon my readers started calling themselves the bunnies. So, Lady Gaga has little monsters. I have bunnies. So there it is.
No, you made the big time when your readership has its own title. I have not achieved that yet, but we can all
I've not achieved that yet.
All right. So, did I ask my question? No. It's my turn. It's my turn to ask a question. So Rachel, I'm curious. I feel like your books have some depth to them. They're not just like light books. And so what are you hoping that readers will take away from the story? What's the purpose?
Well, I think any novel I write, I hope that at the end they have like a happy sigh and they feel really well entertained. But beyond that, I would hope that with this storyline that they would think about, I don't know, why they hold grudges against people, why it's so hard to forgive each other, types of a thing. And maybe who knows, maybe at the end they'll want to go and forgive someone. But it's definitely not a preachy. That's a subtle undertone that I think was just sort of beautifully found its way into this story.
Lovely.
That's a universal undertone of life. Like, I think that's really beautiful. And to bring that out organically in a story, I think is incredibly powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? You might just get your wish, because honestly, fiction changes lives. So I think it gives us an opportunity when we identify with a character, we can examine our own life choices. So let's all focus on forgiveness. So that's going to be the vibe of this book that goes into the world. I love that.
Yeah, that is a potent and important theme. All right, Rachel Fordham. Well, thank you for being with us for the letter tree. And we are going to ask you the question that we ask all authors, which is, what is bringing you joy today?
Okay, well, I'm going to go with 2. Is that okay? Can I cheat and do 2?
Totally. Oh, yeah.
What are we going to say? No?
No, it's just one joyful
You
thing.
can't be grateful for 2 things.
I'm grateful for so many, but I'm going to pick 2. I just turned in edits on my 2024 book, and it's just so exciting. And then we adopted a baby this summer, and he's not a baby, but I call him a baby. He's 2.5 now, but he just went his first day without having an accident, and it feels like we should all just like celebrate, because it's not coming naturally to this guy. So
yeah, I had one that was 3 days and one that was 6 months in the potty training department. Yeah.
We're probably going to be on it. So.
Well, congratulations on both those things. Those are wonderful things to celebrate. So everyone run out and grab, Marie, can you hold it up again?
Yes,
a copy of the letter tree, particularly if you live in Buffalo, but if you are looking for just You've Got Mail meets Romeo and Juliet themes.
Who isn't?
Yeah, who isn't looking for that? And I think you'll really enjoy this historical romance by Rachel Fordham. So Rachel, thank you for being with us. Readers, thank you. And viewers, thank you for being with us. And join us next week for more 10-minute book talk fun. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.